Welcome, everybody. It is day 4 of the Create Bootcamp. This bootcamp was designed to teach you about the 6 different foundational practices that I teach inside of my Create course. And today is probably the one that I could talk about the most. It's probably the one that has had the most effect on who I am. Probably the one that has impacted my business the most. Probably the practice that if I took all of the other ones away, I would have to keep this one. Today is the AM routine, my morning routine. Hey, I see a bunch of you popping on. Sarah, I don't think I've seen you on one of the lives yet. So, hey there, Noreen. I see Lori. Lori is going to be with me later on today to give you a little preview at 4 p.m. I'm going to be doing an interview with Lori, so I'm really excited about that. So today I'm going to talk about morning routine. I'm going to try to keep it at about 40 minutes. I will see if I can keep it to about that because I have a lot to be able to share with you. I have books to tell you about. I have quotes to share with you. I have some new stories to tell you about. And I just feel like this morning routine is what I could talk about the most. Hey, I see Laura popping on. There's Tony. If you did not see Tony's interview yesterday, it is over on YouTube. Probably the easiest way to catch all of the replays of the boot camp and to see all of the interviews together. If you are not over on my YouTube and subscribing over there, just put YouTube in the comments and I can make sure and get that to you. Hey there, Adrian. So comment and let me know, have you watched day 1, which was all about community, building hey, there's Cheryl. It's all about community, building a community, making connections. Oh, I see Loretta popping on. Yes, I will make sure and get that to you, Laura. So I just was able to, not to get off on a side tangent other than talking about morning routine, but just yesterday I reached 100 subscribers on YouTube, which means I could create my own unique name over there instead of numbers and letters and whatever they make it. And I created it Jamie L. Norvell Art. So that is what my YouTube channel is going to be called, Jamie L. Norvell Art. And you can be able to see I switched out my picture and I changed up some things, put description in there and all of that. So tell me if you watched day 1, which is all about community, whether you watched it live or the replay. Tell me if you watched day 2, which was all about rest, and maybe rest in different ways than you had thought about before, if you watched that live or on replay. Or did you watch day 3 yesterday, which was all about energy, and definitely talking about energy a little bit differently than you may have heard anyone else talk about before. So let me know if you watched day 1, 2, or 3. Maybe you watched all of them. Maybe you haven't gotten a chance to watch any of them. Let me know if you've watched the interviews too. So on Monday, I was able to interview Jamie, right? And then Tuesday was, Tuesday was Debbie. And then Wednesday, yesterday, was Tony. And then today I will have Lori, and I have some other people this week and next week that I'll be interviewing too. So Lori said, Laura has watched all 3. So Tony says she has watched all 3. And Loretta's watched parts of 1. Lori caught Tony's interview. She needs to go back and watch the replays. If you have watched the series of these that I've done twice now, this third one, today I am going to talk about some different things. I do have a different prize than I have offered in the past that I'm really excited about. And I have a few extra things to tell you about. So what I'd like for you to do before I announce the winners from yesterday's challenge, I want you to make sure you have out your notebook, something to write in. I'm going to give you some things today that I know from the past when I talked about this, people wrote this down and they still use it. and they talk about it all the time. So have out your notebook. I want you to turn on your focus, turn off any distractions, and really just give yourself this time. Like I said, I'm going to try to keep it to about 40 minutes of learning about how a morning routine, an AM routine could really help. I feel like I have a hair here, could really help you. So, Laura says she needs to go back and watch Jamie's, or she's only watched Jamie's interview so far. That's fine. So, out of the 3 different ones. So I have some other ones coming up. So I do have the winners from yesterday, and I have to say, I love the challenge from day 3. Let me know in the comments if you did the challenge, because over in CBOB, and let me go ahead, I believe that everyone that is here is in CBOB, but if you are not and you're watching this, and if you want to be in CBOB, that is where we're doing the challenges. So that's where you have to be if you want to participate in the challenges and the prizes and things that I'm giving away. So yesterday's challenge, and you can let me know in the comments that if you did this one, we talked about energy, and I asked people to show up and do a live video inside of CBOB. And it's something that sometimes people get very anxious about. Sometimes people feel very self-conscious about going live. Sometimes people feel just very nervous about that. And if you were here watching yesterday when I talked about energy, I talked about limiting belief. Let me know if you remember the definition that I gave yesterday of a limiting belief. And I'm going to take a drink here while you do that. Yesterday, I gave the definition of a limiting belief, and just kind of a short version of what a limiting belief was. Because sometimes when we go live, when we make the decision to go live, when we even think that we should go live, sometimes those things start to pop up. They start to keep you from doing the things that you need to do. So Lori says that everything froze. Uh-oh. I still see everything moving. So hopefully that is moving along now. So yesterday when I talked about limiting belief, it's really a story that we tell ourselves. And sometimes telling ourselves the stories that we're nervous, that we're going to mess up, that we're going to fail, that we're going to do bad, that we're going to, any of those things are just a story, a limiting belief that's keeping us from showing up to be the person that we need to be, to serve the people that we need to serve, that are waiting for us to serve. So congratulations to all of you who did the challenge in the group, which was to go live, or if you've ever done a live video, because that takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of courage to show up live and get past some of those limiting beliefs that you might be thinking. So I randomly chose 3 people from the people who did go into CBOB, and they did the challenge of saying their name, saying what state they lived in, and where they were traveling over the summer. And that was so much fun to learn and to find out kind of what people were doing. I would challenge you that even if you have not done that challenge, you've not watched the video from yesterday, you didn't get a chance to do that before we came on to the video, you can still do that. It's good practice. It's good practice to show up and be able to do that short little live. So here are the 3 people that I randomly chose. The first one is Adrienne, and I think that she was on here. Adrienne Arce, I think that she was on here. Angie Caldwell, and I think that it shows up on her Facebook with her maiden or middle name in there. And then Jamie Tucker. And I believe that Jamie was on here, and I think that Adrienne was on here. So, oh, I see Jet able to pop on. So, yeah, Loretta, I really like the just finding out more about the people in the group and hearing their voices and knowing a little bit more about them. And so that was a lot of fun to be able to see those live videos. So congratulations to, yes, Adrian, Angie, and Jamie. They are getting a list of 30 Facebook ideas. Facebook ideas that will that you can use in a live video. You could use in a post. You could use, but there are 30 different ideas that you can use on a Facebook Live, and it's not a list that I have made available at any other time. So it's a brand new thing that I'm going to offer. And I am going to put that same list inside of the Create course. So I know my alumni have already gotten access to the course and it is open. I will be telling you more about that next week, but that list of 30 ideas I am going to be putting inside of the course as a little bonus. So that's where I'm going to put that. So congratulations to all of you and all of you who have really ever done a live video, because it does take some courage to be able to do that. So I have a question for you. And I've shared a little bit about this story, and I probably will have some other kind of stories come up as I'm even telling about this one. But tell me in the comments if oh, you're welcome. I see Adrian commenting here. So she is still here. So tell me if you've ever had a coincidence happen. If you've ever had something that you really can't explain, you really can't describe, how it just feels like a coincidence. I don't know that I necessarily believe in true coincidence. I believe, there's kind of a plan for things, but tell me if you've ever had some kind of a coincidence happen. This is related to when I very first started using a morning routine. Lori says that she calls them God Wings. I actually read a book called God Wings. Hey there, Cindy. I see her popping on there. So coincidences, or like what Lori calls God Wings, I noticed started happening at about the same time that I started having a morning routine. So this goes all the way back to 2002. This was probably about the first time that I really started a morning routine. So it was the summer of 2002, and I had it ended up being a couple of little devotionals, essentially. And I was in a place where life was just kind of rough. It was kind of rough then. And I would wake up a little bit extra early because my boys were young at the time and I needed that quiet time in the morning. And I would read these just little 1-page kind of little devotionals. I think I had 3 of them, so they didn't take very much time. So I am sitting in my chair and it's quiet, nobody's up yet, and I'm reading these little things, and I'm kind of like thinking through my day, and I realized that I did not have an idea for my ceramics 2, or advanced ceramics, I think we were calling it at the time, for that day. For that day, I was focusing on other things and I didn't have an idea for that day. So I kind of had that in the back of my mind while I'm working on these little devotionals. And I don't remember exactly what they said for that day, but I was kind of remembering how whatever they were, they kind of fit together. Like they all kind of were related, right? And I kind of had in the back of my mind that I needed that project and an idea, and just, how these things were all fitting together. And the idea, the image, the vision that I got was of a puzzle piece. And, puzzle pieces fit together. And I just kind of thought like it's all like a puzzle, and it all kind of fits together. And if you watched Tony's interview yesterday, she talked about the 6 different foundational practices that I teach in Create. That was exactly how she kind of explained them. And if you have noticed inside of CBOB, the cover photo that's up there and all of the images that I've created for this boot camp, for the interviews, they have puzzle pieces. Because on that day, when I was sitting there and I did not have an idea, when I walked into this room and sat down in the chair, it was kind of dark. I probably didn't notice everything that was in the room, and I was kind of focused on getting to my chair and kind of sitting down there. As soon as I had that idea of a puzzle piece, I looked down on the floor, and all over there were these puzzle pieces that were all along the floor. I don't remember them being there when I walked in. But how did these puzzle pieces get all over the floor? And at that moment, I had the idea to use those puzzle pieces to present to my advanced ceramics class to do a project based on those puzzle pieces. And they were some of the most fabulous. I wish I might still have photos. They were some of the best projects because they were so unique and so individual to those students, and they all had to use a puzzle piece in some way. So part of the reason why I have the puzzle pieces on all of the imagery is it ties together when I started doing this morning routine, how coincidences happened, how that year especially, I had a lot of those synchronistic things happen. That's another word that I've kind of used, like synergistic, synchronistic, kinds of things when they start to happen. And really what that is, it's shifting your focus, which is what we talked about during energy. It's shifting your focus to noticing those things, to noticing about how all of those things are connected. So Tony says she doesn't believe in luck. Yeah, I don't really, but it's in blessings and God aligning things. There's that word aligning for his purpose and plan. I love that. I love that, Tony. So that is kind of why all of the morning routine and the puzzle pieces and everything ties together. And if you take Create, you will hear a little bit more about the puzzle pieces and how everything all fits together. So I have something for you to write down. And I'm going to actually show you because I wrote it down just because I'm visual, and that way you can see it a little bit better. This is actually from a book. It's not my idea. It's not my word that I'm going to ask you to remember. This is from a book called Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. Hal Elrod. And this was a book that I was introduced to probably back in 2017 or something. I think that was when it was written. And it's all about developing your morning routine, your miracle morning routine. And so this is an easy way to remember the 6 different things that you can do to set up your morning in a very intentional way to be able to include some things that will help you to have more peace throughout the day, help you to feel more like you're in control and you've chosen what you start your day with. So if anybody's watching that you remember from the past, I'm going to go ahead and take another drink. The 2 that I've done before this series in the spring of 2022 and then again in the fall of 2022, go ahead and type in if you remember this word, because a lot of people tell me back this word that they remember. And this is how I know Cheryl for sure has told me. I think Tony's mentioned it to me before. Tell me if you remember the word that's an acronym for the 6 different things to do. Cheryl remembers. I knew that she would remember because she's told me about it several times. Every time that I want to remember something, acronyms really help me to remember. So I'd like for you on a piece of paper to write down the word savers. And I want you to write equals on there. And I'm going to tell you what each one of those words stands for. And it's a process, basically kind of in order of what you can do for a morning routine. So if you do not have, tell me in the comments if you don't really have a morning routine, this is something that you can follow. And I'm going to have a question for you after I tell you what these 6 different things are. So you can just write the word out beside, just savers, and then you'll just write the word out. And if you want to write any notes or anything beside them. But the S stands for silence. Starting your day with silence. And that can be different things for different people. Mine starts with the Bible app, where I go in and I do the story that's in the Bible app, which includes a scripture. So that's my silence time, prayer time. And then there's a whole sequence of stories that go through there that kind of incorporate some of these other 5 things. But that's my very first thing. So, Cheryl says that she highly recommends, and that I think that I have the Kindle version, but I don't have the physical version, which I actually like the physical book, so might have to add that one to my list. So, but I have read the Kindle version of it, essentially. So the S is for silence. Starting your day with silence. The A, and somebody can type these in the comments so that I make sure that I have all 6 of them, but the A is for affirmations, right? Saying something positive, saying a comment. Oh, and I have one to read to you. Saying a positive statement. If you saw on, I believe it was day 2, I talked about these I am cards, which I think I have over here on my bookshelf. They are I am statements. And I am reading a book this morning, which is the R, actually, not to give that away. But I had an I am statement that I underlined. Let me see if I can. I had it marked in here, so let me see if I can find it really quick. It was so, so good. In the CBOB group, I read some book quotes, and I have just short little videos with book quotes. And this might be one, if I can't find it, that I need to do in there. Oh, I found it. It's actually a short one. Somebody can type this in the comments. It's so good. I am constantly training my mind to work for me. That is a good one. I am constantly training my mind to work for me. I thought that one was so good. We're going to talk about thoughts tomorrow, but that was so good. I am constantly training my mind to work for me. Love that. So, not to get off on a little, but affirmations, that is an awesome affirmation to be able to write down. Any kind of I am statements like that. Thank you, Cheryl. I write down a statement that says something along the lines of I decide, I make. So mine's actually, I make decisions aligned with my core values. So that affirmation sets me up throughout the day as an intention of who I want to be throughout the day. I make decisions aligned with my core values. So that's one of the affirmations, or I call them positives, that I write down most days. And I will say that about this morning routine. It's not perfect. It doesn't happen every single day. It's not about perfection. It's just about being consistent and doing the things. So V is visualization. That's hard to say. Visualization. Right now, sitting right here, I have my 2 vision boards that I did hanging right up here. And every day, sitting at this computer, I can look up there and I can see my vision boards. Having a visual representation with actual photos of what it is that you're working towards and your goals and the way that you want to show up and all of those things is very powerful. But taking the time to actually visualize, have you ever heard about how Olympic athletes will visualize crossing the line? They'll visualize winning the race. They'll visualize actually putting on the gold medal, or, receiving the gold medal. They will visualize the things that they want to achieve. And that's very powerful, to live in the feelings of what it is that you want to achieve. There was another one in here. Oh, I might read this one tomorrow, but it was on the same page. You don't need $1 million to feel like $1 million. That was good too. So the Olympic athletes will visualize. So that's the V. E is to exercise, some kind of physical activity. It doesn't need to be a 45-minute workout. It can be a walk around your block. It can be stretching. It can be yoga. It can be just some kind of movement. Our bodies are like meant to move. Thank you for putting all of those in there, Cheryl. And then the R I talked about is read. I try to read 10 minutes per day. So the book that I am reading right now is called The Greatness Mindset. Unlock the Power of Your Mind and Live Your Best Life Today by Lewis Howes. So The Greatness Mindset. And I'm about halfway through. It's a really good book that has exercises to do in there. And it's taking me a little bit longer to kind of get through the book. But my goal is to read one book per month, about 10 minutes per day. If I'm in a 300-page book, then that equals about, a month or so that I would get that done. So R is for read. And then S is for scribe, because you couldn't fit a J in there and make it seem right. So savers with the S for scribe or journaling or writing or something like that. Those 6 things, if you do those 6 things, then you have a morning routine that has things that you choose that will really be intentional to set you up to have a day where you feel like you are in control. You have chosen those 6 things and what you allow in before the world gets to decide. Those 6 things can make a big difference. I have a question for you. How long do you think those 6 things would take you? How long do you think the silence, the affirmation, the visualization, the exercise, the reading, and the scribing would take you? I told you that I take about 10 minutes to read, a few minutes to say a prayer, just to, be in silence. It doesn't take very long to read an affirmation. I can look up here and kind of visualize, my vision boards and look at those. A few stretches, reading the 20 minutes. Adrian says maybe 20 minutes total. Oh my goodness, Cheryl, I don't think that I knew that there was a free and a paid version of the app. I do remember you telling me about that now. So, Adrian, it's so helpful to be able to get back into a routine. Like I said, not perfect, and it will be different from day to day. Some days I don't technically do my morning routine until the afternoon because of, whatever. Sometimes I don't get a chance to do it at all. If, like, next week we're flying out to Texas really, really early, I don't know that when I get to the airport, I will even be awake enough to be able to do my morning routine. I usually at least try to do the Bible app and do that story, which is several, and that takes me like 5 minutes. And it kind of includes, like a lot of those. So your morning routine can be 5 minutes or it can be an hour. It can be 10 minutes or it can be 2 hours. It's all up to how much time you make and set aside. And I'll tell you what you start to notice, and what I started to notice in 2002 when I was starting to do a consistent morning routine, is that taking of the action produced the results and made me become the person that I wanted to show up as, made me the person that I wanted to be. So I typed up this quote so that I could remember it, but you might want to write this one down. Your effort, your action, your intentional action, right? Your effort is what produces the evidence for confidence to show up. So it's not that you need the confidence to do the action and then it'll produce the results. You take the action so that it produces the evidence so that confidence shows up. Because then that evidence of what you're trying to achieve, the intention of who you're trying to be and show up, that evidence is what causes you to be more confident. And you can think about that in, your situation with going live and all kinds of different circumstances. Taking the action, putting in the effort, being intentional, making the time, doing the things, that is what produces the evidence so that you can like look back, be like, oh, I did the thing. I took the action. I tried the things. That is what produces the confidence. And yes, Tony, I will repeat that one. Your effort is what produces the evidence for confidence to show up. So I try to remember things in alliteration, right? Your effort is what produces the evidence for confidence to show up. So that way I can kind of remember like the words that kind of like stand out. So the more that you practice, and that's why I call the 6 different things inside the Create course, the 6 foundational practices, that is what produces the confidence. I got sidetracked because I saw Jet say, wait, you're coming to Texas? Yes, I'm going to be in Fort Worth next Thursday through, I think we're leaving early Sunday. So we are getting together, Tony and I and Connie and a few other people that live in the area. So Jet, I don't know what you're doing next Thursday, but yeah, if you're around and you can get together with us, that would be awesome. So I've had so many different things that I've been thinking about. I haven't thought about who I could try to get together with while I'm there. So we're coming in for a wedding that's in my niece's wedding in Denton. And so flying into Fort Worth. And so we'll be there for a couple of days. So yeah. So your morning routine can be as little or as long as you need. And the goal of a morning routine is to set you up to be intentional, like you're being intentional so that you can be the person that you want to be throughout the day. So it can be, oh, Cindy, is that right? So you're really close there too. So yeah, I'll have to kind of put together like who all is kind of like in that area. So, because we're going to try to get together at 7 Mile Cafe. So seven something cafe. So Tony probably knows because she's near there too. So yeah. Oh, good. She typed it up. So your evidence is what produces evidence for confidence to show up. Perfect. Yeah. I think your version is even a little bit shorter than what I said. So 7 Mile Cafe. So yes. So there you go. So yeah, Cindy and Jet and it is in Denton. Yeah. So yeah, we'll try to organize that. So not to get too sidetracked there. Let me go ahead and show you a couple of other books that I have read, that I have found helpful, that I do believe that I have in my Amazon shop. If you kind of want to see like all of the books that I recommend, I have a list inside of CBOB of some different books, but probably just going to my Amazon shop is the easiest. And some of these books have been part of my morning routine or will be part of my morning routine. And then I'm going to tell you about the challenge and tell you about what the prize is that is different than what has been in the past. So this is one that I've been working on right now. It's called The 100 Days of Praise and Positivity. It's by Megan Taylor. And she is just like a colorful ray of sunshine. She is just like, you can tell from the front cover. She loves confetti, loves color. It has a little picture of her with her kind of, all those bright colors on there. I have just loved this. And I started this January 1st, and it's 100 days. So I should have January, February, March, the middle of March, I probably would have finished it, right? It's June 15th and I'm on day like 88. But let me show you what it basically has is a scripture. It has her reflection. It has a place for you to practice your lettering on the word that helps you to kind of, talk about affirmations, around that word. And then there's a little place for journaling. So this one has the silence, basically, because I'm reading the scripture. it has the reading, it has the scribe down here at the bottom, and then I don't know exactly where I'd put this one, probably the affirmations and, just kind of like with the words. So yeah, it's really fun. And some days, I did more lettering. Some days, tried all kinds of different things. And so this one has been really fun. And I think this one is the one that I'm going to start next. So it's 100 days, less hustle, more Jesus. And it is also a kind of daily devotional, 100. Do you want me to show this one again? I think both of these are in my Amazon shop. So the Praise and Positivity by Megan Taylor. So if you just want to put Amazon in the comments, that I will put my Amazon shop in there. But this one, the 100 Days of Less Hustle, it has, similar little devotion in there, and some other scriptures, and then some space to write in there. And that's the one that I'm going to be starting next. I like these because they have the little ribbon in there too. This one is by Shanna Noel, and I think that I've done other ones by her before. I like having something like that because it starts me being creative. And not that that's one of the things on the 6 different parts of the Savers routine, but I like having that little bit of creativity with that lettering in the morning. So Tony brought up probably one of my favorite ones, and this has been what I have given as the prize for day 4 in the past, is the 100 Days to Brave. And that one is Annie F. Downs, which I love. I love Annie. She's just like so quirky and fun. And she also, one of the reasons that I like this one is it has kind of a topic and an affirmation, really, that a focus. And then there's a scripture. So that's my silence right in there. And then there's the reading. And then the challenge is what I really like at the bottom there. And it helps me to apply what it is that I'm learning. Kind of in the same way that the lettering does in the other books, but it forces me to actually like apply it. Annie actually has another book, and this is the one that I thought about doing as a prize, but I have an even better one for you. But Chase the Fun by Annie F. Downs. It has 100 days of discovering fun right where you are. We all need more fun, right? And she has same kind of thing. There's the little challenge about chasing the fun there. Yeah, Tony says it's in her cart. She also has a book that I have to be able to read. Usually if I can do about 10 minutes per day, like I said, I'll finish a whole book in a month. I also wanted to mention this other book just because this goes along a lot with kind of developing these practices, these routines, these things where you choose and you're intentional about what it is that you're doing. And that is High Performance Habits. And that is Brendan Burchard is who does that, or who wrote that one. I follow a lot of his stuff. I listen to his podcast. I really like how he teaches. He has an app called the Growth app you can pay for, but this one is really what kind of started helping me to develop habits that have set me up to be more intentional. So yeah, Brendan Burchard is he's just a really good teacher in the way that he presents things, right? Sometimes there are people who present and it's kind of like all over the place and, you can't really follow. My teacher brain can't follow that very easily sometimes, but he presents usually main idea, 3 points, and then he like reviews it usually. So I really learn well from kind of that format. So I really like the way that he teaches. So for today's challenge, tell me if you're going to do today's challenge. I haven't told you the prize yet, and I'm actually doing pretty good on time too. I said about 40 minutes, and we got sidetracked on a couple of little things off to the side. But today's challenge, I want you first to put a takeaway in the comments. What is something that you took away from today that you're going to remember? Maybe you're even going to apply tomorrow. This practice is something you can start tomorrow. You can start making changes and be intentional, and you will see a difference. So tell me if you're going to do this challenge by writing a takeaway in the comments there. You can put it in the video of what a takeaway is today, that you learned something new, you had an aha, you got an idea for a book to put in your Amazon cart. What is an idea, a takeaway, or something that you had from the video today? The second challenge, yesterday I asked you to do a live video because progressively the challenges are getting a little bit more challenging. They're getting a little bit more challenging. So today I'm not going to ask you to go live in CBOB. I actually want you to have your savers that you wrote down and have your words there. And I would like for you to make a post on your personal profile, on your personal Facebook profile. And I would like for you to comment with the hashtag. Somebody can put this in the comments there. Hashtag create 615 because it's June 15th. So create 615. And I would just like for you to take a pretty picture with your savers. Take a little selfie with your savers. And I want you to just write in the comments, I will commit to my savers. I just want you to write that. I will commit to my savers with the hashtag create 615. Somebody can put that quote in there, that caption to write with your photo. I will commit to my savers. Here's the reason why I just want you to keep it really short. There's a couple different reasons. People are probably going to ask you, what do savers? What is that? And you don't even have to write. You could just write it down like that if you want to not even have the words. What does that S mean? What is A? What does that B? What are these savers? What are you talking about? And then that starts a conversation that you can have with people, and you can talk to them about your morning routine. Because I feel like the best way to know that you have learned something is to teach someone else. To teach someone else about the savers. And by you saying that you commit to that, then maybe they'll commit with you. Maybe you can teach them how to do this too. Maybe they can become a little accountability partner with you that you can check in with later in the day and say, hey, did you do your savers? Post it on your personal profile with the create 615, hashtag create 615, and just put in there, I will commit to my savers. You don't need to explain anything else. You actually don't want to, because when people start asking you questions, you can have the conversation and everything in there. That just, that's something that the social media platforms like, is when you have that conversation. So you don't need to tell everybody everything. So very good. I see Adrienne putting that in there, and Cheryl's doing her takeaway that I've just added several of these books to Amazon. Yeah, I usually just try to add one at a time. So yeah. So, oh, thank you, Adrienne. I saw she put the quote in there. I will commit to my savers with a selfie. Yes. Selfies and photos of you get much more attention than just posting the photo. So yes. Yes, very good. And Cheryl's she put the quote on there too. I'm going to commit to my savers. The third thing that I would like for you to do is to search that hashtag out on Facebook. Search create 615 later in the day and go comment on other people who are showing up and committing to their savers. If your profile is not set on public and you're not friends, then you won't be able to see those. So you either have to set your profile to public for just that post. You don't need to do it for everything. Set it to public for just that post, or you can go ahead and, friend people that are showing up here, friend people in CBOB, and then that way you can be able to see each other's stuff. So write down the takeaway, post your selfie with the hashtag and the phrase, I will commit to my savers. Comment on some people's, encourage people, connect with people, be social, make connections. We talked about that on Monday. And here's your prize. I'm going to pick 4 people tomorrow when I show up at 1 o'clock to talk about thoughts. You don't want to miss that one. It's a really, really good one. And I'm going to give away 4 books. This is a book that I do not have in my hand. It's not the 100 Days to Brave. This is a book that we are actually going to do and go through inside of Create. If you are an alumni, you're already taking Create, this is not something that I've done before. It's something that I just decided that we are going to do as a group going through Create. We are going to go through this book. So if you win one of these books, you will already have that book to be able to go through and Create. I'm going to pick 4 people, and you're going to receive the book that I have not read yet. It is called The 5 a.m. Club, and it is by Robin Sharma, who I have listened to a lot of his stuff, and he's kind of a character. I really kind of like how he talks and presents things, and his 5 a.m. Club book is one that is very it was like groundbreaking, I guess is like the right word. So Noreen says he's a great author. Yeah. So she must have read some stuff by it. He's got some other books and things too. So Jenny says fantastic book. Awesome. So if you already have that book, then I will substitute something else comparable to that book. Maybe one of his other books, maybe the Miracle Morning book or something like that. So Cheryl says, Cheryl, how many books do you have on your wish list? I understand, because I probably have several in my Amazon cart or wish list too. So I'm going to give away 4 people. And I would like to know in the comments, are you going to take that challenge? Are you going to take that challenge and post that selfie with the hashtag create615 and to put in the comment, put in the description, I will commit to my savers. I want to know if you're going to commit to that challenge. You can put in the comments here. And the last thing that I just want to tell you today, we are going to be back at 4 o'clock, and Lori is the one that I'm going to be interviewing today. And I just want you to remember the quote that I've said the past couple of days, that today and every day, I want you to remember that you can make the decision to create a life that you love when you have an intentional morning routine. So I hope to see you back at 4 o'clock or 1 o'clock tomorrow when I talk about thoughts. So bye, everybody.